Hi, we're back to get to know a little more about project settings and how to enable and disable Looming, okay? First thing is that I closed Unreal and I open it again. And by default, uh, it doesn't bring us to the render that we were working. Let me close Unreal and let me open it again. If in case you close your project and you're like, I'm tired to study, so I'm gonna close it and tomorrow I'll get back. So you go here, the place where you saved. Remember where we saved? In the desktop, in the workspace. Okay. Click here and here. This class here of interface that we created. You can go right here as well. Double click. You can either open the project here or via the Epic Games Launcher. You go File, Open Project, okay? By default, when you open Unreal, the project that you were working, that doesn't send you directly to the house, to the project that you were working. It takes you first in the home page, okay? The default inside Unreal. That is that project that we initiate in the course, but you can change it. You can, for example, put your project for all the time that you initiate Unreal, the project that we were working to appear here in the home page. How do you do that? Well, you go here, project settings, and here you have a lot of things here, settings about your project. For example, description, gameplay, maps, movies. All right, you have a lot of things here. Rendering. So you have all these settings here of your project, okay? Obviously, we're not gonna see everything here. We're gonna see the most important things for us. That is the ArcVis, okay? And for example, if you want to change the level, the entry level, initial level, if you don't like this level, you can put your project. You go here, maps and modes, and here you have some settings, okay? And actually, we will talk about some of them during the course, all right? Meanwhile, we're not going to talk about it. So again, we're going to see a lot of them during the course. Here in editor, startup map, you can select the level that you want to start, okay? Click here, open world, and you can select the level that you were working, okay? Piano house, all right? When, for example, when we want to package the project, when you want to introduce this project to someone, you go here, piano house, all right? So we have two places, the map here that I want to start with the editor and the map that I want to start in game, okay? When you finish the project, you're going to introduce this project as a game. So in the game system, in the browsing system, to introduce in real time, we're gonna put the map here. To work, to edit, to create, you're gonna change the map here. I don't advise you to change the map here in the editor. Why? Because if we're doing a project really heavy, our project isn't heavy. But if you're with a heavy project, and this level is the entry level, it can take a long time. Sometimes you want to change something, an asset, or a furniture, a texture, all right? And it's gonna take a lot of time, all right? Until compile all the shaders and everything. We chose the piano house already here. Let me close it here and let me restart the project. So let's suppose you put piano house as a project in the editor, in the initial project. And after you finish your project, you think like, oh, I just want to take the piano or the armchair. Imagine that when you initiate Unreal, you will have to wait all the project to load, the coding, everything that is inside the project is gonna load. So after you can take, for example, the piano that you want, and that can take a long time. All right, so I don't advise you to do that. I think it's better if you let the default map, all right, uh, in the editor map, and then you can access if you need this. Okay, look, so we initiate the Unreal with the project that we were working. All right, let's get back. Project settings. um, all right, maps and modes. Look at this, let's change it here. All right, because it's piano house here, our house. Let's put the default. All right, the default map. We cannot see here because it's in another place. All right, inside here, but we can search for this. And now I'm gonna minimize this, all right, so that I can show it to you. It's here, as you can see. It's inside the files of Unreal, all right, inside the folders, inside maps, templates, open world. If you don't know this path, it's okay. You can just click on the magnifying glass, all right, and you can click and drag, okay, until here. Okay, we got it back. Open world when I initiate the Unreal. Okay, let's close it so that we can verify this. All right, let's open it again. So I advise you to leave the default map of Unreal, okay? Because if you're working with a really heavy project, it's not gonna take a long time, unless you want, for example, to access the map that you are working, okay? All right, we got it back. And you say, okay, Dennis, so I just want to use the map of Unreal, but how can I access my project? You can find it inside the content folder here. Remember, we created a folder called Piano House. We created geometry, materials, textures, and we created the folder level. Inside the folder level, here it is our level of the piano house. Okay, you can double click on it. Yeah, that's it, we got it back. So if you need some asset, you can click the double click here, select and send it to your project. Or if you want the place where it is, you can go directly to this with the folders here. For example, if I want to send the piano here, I can click here and I can send to another project, all right, without even needing to open the level of the project that you were working. Okay, we will learn how to do it, all right, during the course. We call it migrate. Okay, but don't worry about it right now. Okay, let's focus on the lighting, actors. That is the goal of this class. Okay, I accessed my project, all right, and now let's talk a little bit about the actors. What are actors? Well, basically, actors is the name that Unreal gives to the objects inside Unreal. For example, the lighting, the directional light. Let me put it here. Let me click. Let's bring it here. G. Press G. Okay. The directional light is an actor. Okay. The high fog is an actor. The sky atmosphere is an actor. The skylight is an actor. So it's like if you have a movie, your project is a movie, and the elements of this film, this movie, are the actors. Okay, so you can, for example, add or remove the actors. For example, let's erase the layer of the clouds. You can just delete it. All right, we just delete it. Let me Ctrl+Z. All right, we got it back. We can delete, for example, the actor skylight. All right, we did it. Let's press Ctrl+Z. You can delete the atmosphere. We did it. Okay, you can delete, for example, this static mesh that is an actor of the type static mesh. Okay, so basically actors are the elements that are part of your project. For example, I want to add an actor of the type direction light, point light, spotlight, all right, or I can add an actor cube, sphere, cylinder, or an actor of the type camera, or these types here. I can do that. Okay. All right. So they are actors. Based on that, we can add or remove the actors. Okay. But before to do that, let's change some settings here inside Unreal Engine so that we can identify and realize the difference and the utility of the actors. Look at this. I don't know if in your project, I think it is, but if it's not here, it is already with the looming activated. By default, Unreal Engine 5 already brings the looming activated. Today, we are working here with the graphic cards RTX 3080. So by default, it already brings it to me. Unreal already brings the looming to me, okay? If the looming isn't activated for you and the scene isn't like mine, let's disable the looming, and let's learn how to activate this, all right? So we can understand and see the importance of each actor, okay? So let's go here, edit, project settings. We talked about the maps and modes, and now let's talk more about let's see, engine and rendering. So let's go and let's configure this. Basically here you configure the quality of your project, the type of animation, if it's the looming type of tracing type. So in this mode specifically, we'll talk about looming, but it's important that we talk a little about the other modes of lighting so that we can understand the reason we use looming or the reason we use tracing. Okay, what is a looming, what is that, so it's important. So let's click here, rendering. Let's go down until global illumination. All right, let's close the other ones. Okay, so let's go here, global illumination, reflections. For the system of global illumination, we see that this dynamic is using looming, all right? And to the reflection method, it is also using looming. Let's change it. For example, for known, okay? And the reflection as well to known, all right? This way, I'm not using looming anymore to illuminate the place, all right? So I don't have looming here. Let's type here the mesh. Here, up here, you can search specific terms. Okay, let's type mesh. Look at this. It is saying that it's generating mesh distance fields. Okay, what is that? Well, you can see some black spots here. What are these black spots? Unreal. Let me put something here. Unreal, as it is an engine of games, it tries to simulate the bounces, the GI, shadows of contact using a system, for example, that we see in 3ds Max and Blender called ambient occlusion. All right, it basically identifies the areas of contact and it tries to simulate the GI. We can't forget that Unreal Engine is an engine of game, and the engine of game the goal is to be very optimized, all right, to run very good. So an engine of games tries to find strategies to try to get to realism, uh, the scene, okay, and also very light in terms of processing, okay. So before e-tracing for looming, we used to use other features to get to realism. For example, to simulate the shadow of contacts, we used to use ambient occlusion. And inside Unreal specifically, when you want an ambient occlusion very good, or try to get more effective way the shadows of contact, we used to use mesh distance field. That is basically the field that is generated by the mesh, the field of contact generated by the mesh, okay. Let me get close here and see if it's possible. Look at this. You can see that I get close the object. You can see this shadow here. All right, when I get close it's more dark, when I get far it's more light, okay. But we don't have quality here, okay. We're not talking about quality, we will talk about it soon, okay. But the mesh distance field is working here, okay. See the edges here is getting dark. Look at this. We can disable this, so let's do it. Look, it's gonna ask to restart the Unreal. All right, let's save everything and let's restart. What were you doing here? What's the goal of this class? Is to show you the functions of the actors, okay. But if we try to identify the function of the actors, but without understanding the system of lighting that we have and how the actors can influence the light, the project. So if we don't see that, we won't be able to understand. Let's undo everything here, the looming, the realism, the bouncing, so that we can understand the functions of the actors. After you understand that, we can get back with the looming, the settings, the realism, the bouncing, okay. So let's get back to the start when Unreal didn't have looming, for example, so that we can understand the reason that looming is important in the functions of the actors. All right, let's see if this is disabled. Let's see, you go here, you can try to find here mesh distance field, generate mesh distance fields, software ray tracing. We're not using the hardware, as it is the mesh distance. It is trying to simulate through the software. It is already disabled. If you don't find it, you type here mesh distance. You can see it here, okay. We disabled this. Rendering, let's see, the looming is disabled. All right, look at this, known. Reflection method, known. So let's open our level. Okay, piano house. Look at this. Our scene, we don't see those black spots. If, for example, look at this, we don't have those black spots, okay. So the mesh distance field is disabled, okay. Let me see if we have by default. No. I was gonna search about post-processing system. We'll talk about it soon, okay. Don't worry about it. So all right, our scene is very basic. All right, and you tell me, oh my god, Dennis, now the scene isn't pretty, isn't beautiful. Before it was. Yes, because we disabled the lumen of the system of the line, okay. And also the reflection, all right, the mesh distance field, okay. So Unreal isn't considering the field that the mesh occupies here in the space, and it's not considering the bounces, okay. Now let's talk about the actors. Look, in lighting, we have the actor of the type directional light. Okay, I select this and it is here. Let's press F. Look, this is basically the sunlight. Okay, let's do this. The sunlight, and it's interesting that it moves and the scene is getting more orange. It's like the sunset. Okay, look at this. uh Remember that we don't have gi in the scene. We see the effect, fog, that is happening here as I move the sun. All right, the fog is moving as well. So yeah, so the directional light is responsible. The actor of the directional light is responsible for the directional light. Okay, for the sun. uh, the exponential high fog is responsible for the atmosphere and also for the shadow that the sun makes. It's like a volume fog. Okay, uh, look at this. I can activate or disable. All right. The sky atmosphere is responsible for the tone of the sky. It also works directly related to the directional light in the sky, and the skylight is responsible for the lighting of your scene. Okay, almost like a generator of GI. Okay, so it's responsible for the light of the sky. All right. Look, if I turn it off, the skylight, I don't have the lining of the sky. Okay, it's like I just have to the directional light. Look, and that's it. See, I have a lot of shadows here, and it's not interesting. So let's activate this. All right, we got it back. The skylight hitting my scene of blue. Okay, let's erase the directional light, and let's only keep the sky. All right, I don't have the directional light here because my skylight is related to my directional light. Okay, in this case here. Okay, we can turn it independent. We'll see all of this. Okay, don't worry about it. But for now, let's focus on each function of each actor. Okay, so the skylight is responsible for the light of the sky. It's gonna hit my scene in blue. It's gonna paint my scene in blue. Okay, let's get it back and get the directional light. My volumetric cloud, my clouds I see, or I don't see this. Okay, basically this element and this one and this other one, they are working together. All right, as I spin the sun, I have I can paint my clouds of orange, and I also can paint my scene in orange. Okay, if I move the sun here, noon, I have shadows here, and I have my scene more blue because of the sky that is blue. Okay, and if I do it here, I paint in orange my scene, because these three elements, they are working together. Okay, actually this one as well. All right, but directly the directional light in the sky are the elements that are working together. Okay, Dennis, but why my sky paint my scene based on the position of my sun? Well, because if I click on the sky, I can access the details of the sky, and one of the parameters that the sky is telling me is that it is capturing in a real time. Capturing what? Well, let's disable this, the real time capture. All right, we did it. When I do it, look, it allows me to choose, for example, the source type. okay, that by default is this. It's capturing the scene, all right? And I can, for example, change it for this, a specified cube map. When I do it, I can change, for example, I can choose a HDR. Okay, when I do it, I'm not gonna capture the scene in real time because I'm going to specify a cube map. Okay, and this way I can work my skylight regardless of my directional light. So I'm going to have the sun with a function, all right, that is to create the shadows, all right, to paint my my scene in a specific tone, all right. And I can, for example, select the HDR to light my scene and to paint in some shades, okay? But we can see it soon, okay? But for now, let's ask the skylight to capture the scene, our scene, see what's going on here, and allows, for example, what it's seeing. For example, it is seeing a sky blue with clouds, okay? But it doesn't paint my scene with the shade because I'm not capturing in real time. So let's do it. Let's capture it in real time. Now the skylight, look, the skylight is can identify the position of the sun, and as it's painting the scene, it gets this information and also show as a light source. But basically with indirect light source and to paint the scene based on the shade of it's capturing, okay? All right, so let's do something here. Let's delete all these elements and let's create this again, okay? So that we can understand the functions of each one and how to create these elements from the zero, okay, from the square one. Let's suppose I don't want a light like this. I want a specific line. I want to add the directional light, my skyline, my clouds. I want to use different clouds. So let's do it, all right? So let's delete them. All right, delete. Okay, let's delete this one for in the last. Let's get started here from the clouds. Okay, I just delete them. Look, let's delete the sky atmosphere. Look at this. We did it, and it says skylight with real time capturing neighbors in the scene, and that these components need other components to make the lining for us, okay? Okay, after we're gonna add them manually. Let's delete them. I just delete this one, the sky, and the directional light. Okay, our scene is completed black. Oh, Dennis, you screwed the project. It was so beautiful. There is no problem. We'll put it back. Let's go here, here. Look, our project is here. Our house is here. However, we undid everything that was beautiful, okay? The looming, the mesh distance field, the lighting, the sky, the directional light, the atmosphere, okay? We deleted everything so that we can create everything from the start, okay? Let's go here, save all right. Okay, now we cannot undo anymore. We have to put the elements. I'm gonna finish this class here, and in the next class we're gonna add the lining. Okay, see you.